Hey there, fellow miners and diggers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Going Medieval, Oak Brethren. Episode 3, Underwater Root Cellar. So I'm not going to try to make a root cellar all the way at the bottom level. I'm just going to go down a few tiles. I'm not trying to go down to like granite bedrock, as the transport time and distance for that is greater than is necessary. Alright, Redback is starting to excavate. And then here is going to be the last stairwell. Oops. This is going to be the last stairwell down, so that we're not close to the water level for our root cellar. And clay brick flooring allows us to just move more quickly over it, rather than like raw dirt. And I'm not using wood because it's flammable. I don't want anything on fire within the spine of our castle, because it's going to be important to be able to go up and down the floors without being impeded by fire. Alright, terraforming tech will be after that. Terraforming is going to take a while. Terraforming is a 45 research tech, so it takes a minute, but it'll be worth it once it's done. Additionally, we can also go back and replace some of the clay that we have with dirt or soil, which fits the terrain better. Because I've been filling it with clay as a stopgap measure, but that will allow us to sort of fix the temporary stopgap measures. There is some underground aquifers, as you may have noticed. There's some ponds underneath here. I don't suspect that my root cellar is going to encroach on them. No, they don't. That underground aquifer is not where I intend to build, so it's not an issue. Alright, that's a pretty good amount of clay. The next thing I want to start to make is ingots. I'm going to make until I have, let's say, 30 iron ingots. So now that I have a nice clay supply, let's start digging up iron. So I'm going to dig up 2 iron veins and start processing it into ingots so that I can get things like iron doors, which makes it harder for enemies to attack us. Cartography gives you the region map, which allows you to see the neighboring settlements and potentially like negotiate and trade with them. Essentially like geopolitics. It's a geopolitic table. Which sounds fancy. Ooh, we have some harvestable flax already. Nice. And while everyone's sleeping, this barley field might be a little bit too far from the base now to warrant going all the way out there for. I want to make sure that we're working efficiently, staying close to home. Especially given that the first potential recruit got denied due to their religion. There won't be another chance for a bit. Would have been nice to have a fourth. Oh, there we go. So at this level, this will terminate to a root cellar. And I need to make sure that the root cellar, as you can see, is more than one full level below the water. So it's not like the pond water is going to... So here's a level of the pond water, and the level of the root cellar is a full, like, 3 meters lower or so. So there's not going to be any interference there. And I think what I want to do is to have this end to a tunnel so it can fork over to other buildings in the future. Like if we want a preserving food area or something. Let's plan to have it be small at, maybe this size? Trying to think exactly how I want to lay it out. Have it be this wide. So this is at Z level 3. And the ground level 6. So it's like 3 stories down, if you will. So not quite at the bottom, but fairly close. Now, if I do have a structure over to the west, we have to be careful not to hit the water. Or south, or whatever cardinal direction that is. It's a bit arbitrary. So I'll be careful about that. So here we are, excavating our root cellar. And these are just temporary stability structures, so that we don't have a cave-in. Now, in terms of thermal insulation, the wooden door and all other doors are virtually the same. Doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of, like, materials and hit points. And open speed or whatever. So I'm just going to do a basic wooden door. Oh my god. This had so many fish. What is going on with the fish? It's going crazy. And it looks like we have excavated 108 nuggets, so I'm going to stop excavating the last vein, leaving it, because no one's even bothered to make the iron ingots yet. Which is surprising, because I have all the materials. Maybe we haven't, like, hauled it. Oh, and we have 2 new goats. So... I was hoping to have our first raffle be for a person coming into our community, but apparently it's going to be for goats. And I will keep these 2 additional goats. So we have a male and 2 male goats. 2 billy goats. And Kadath is down here. In the, essentially the catacombs. So inside right now, it's 44 Fahrenheit. It's 49 out, so it is cooler than ambient. I know it's in Fahrenheit, not Celsius, so I apologize for you that follow Celsius. I get it. If I was more familiar with Celsius, I'd choose that. And research. Still don't have enough for terraforming. Close, but not quite. So, other thermal insulation. The brick floors, clay brick floors, offer 0.8. Versus limestone is 0.7 or wood 0.75. Wicker is obviously not insulating, nor is graded wicker. So the clay brick floors are the best that we can offer. In terms of walls, the clay brick walls are 0.85. The higher the number, the better. Clay walls are 9. And in a moment, we'll have terraforming. So we'll be able to see the soil's insulation properties as well soon. Well, my people really have not wanted to make those clay bricks. Or, sorry, metal ingots. I've got the fuel. They're just doing other tasks. They're overtasked. Or after we get tailoring, or, sorry, terraforming, defensive structures. I'll also include fermenting, which allows us to make some basic fermentation, like rough wine or vinegar or whatever. And that's so that people can be happy about what they're drinking. Interestingly, I think I'll also include decorative structures. And I'll explain why. So, there are the idea of rooms in this game. And they'll get a benefit, like a production speed benefit. So, for instance, if I build a kitchen, if I had wall pottery shelves in the kitchen, we could cook faster. So, I know it sounds decorative, but, like, it allows us to increase production speed. So, it's not like I'm immediately going to need this, because a root cellar doesn't need decorative structures, but a kitchen or a great hall or a research library, they will all need decorative structures eventually. Oh, wow. That is a lot of barley. We're going to be drinking good. So Ravex, I think he's not been processing the ingots because of the farming needs. We just have so much crops. All my poor cabbages have nowhere to go to keep from spoiling too. Ever cook like something pretty in their kitchen? Yeah, that's fair too. What's funny is Kadath isn't even our miner. He's not the one good at mining. It's Ravak, but Ravak's been so busy with the farm. What I can do is say, don't sow, and keep him from replanting it for now until I have a place to store the crops. So, back to terraforming. Soil has insulation of 0.95, higher than that of everything else, which, in truth, I feel like clay should be higher than soil, but whatever. Meaning that a soil root cellar is going to be the best. Now, interestingly, I don't believe soil flooring helps. So I am going to line it with clay brick down here. And you guys want defensive structures. Got it. So I'll save up for the metal doors and traps. So with that support pillar, we can excavate the whole area without it caving down. That's something really important to consider, the stability mechanic, because if you excavate large underground areas, you're going to have a massive cave-in the middle, and it's really hard to backfill that cave-in. It sucks. So be very careful to not ever do that to yourself. I'm also, with the terraforming that I got, I'm going to start to replace the soil walls where the clay ones were. It will look more natural. I totally forgot about the raffle. All right, we've got Jungian. Sorry about that. For some reason or another, I don't think I got an audio alert. Weird. And then the other one is Wishbringer. Which I'm going to have to shorten to Wishbring. Because we're Oak Brethren, I have bad news about some of the goats. Oak Brethren do live animal sacrifices as part of their religion, so don't get attached to your animals. I'm just saying. They might not be around forever. Don't worry, you'll become really yummy meals. I'm scared. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm just trying to give fair warning. That's all. All right, root cellar. So this should be a pretty good root cellar for like a year one, meaning we won't have to really scale up much. And it's more or less like refrigerator cold down there. So we'll get brick floors, and then once the brick floors are done, we'll start lining it with shelves to keep the food from spoiling on the ground. We got some wolves hanging around. Keeping an eye on them. For now, our animals are protected. The other thing you could do to offer protection to animals is to keep like a light source around them. So if I extend my wooden floor out like this and stick a light here to keep it out from the rain, that might keep animals protected as well. I'll analyze it once it's done. Now for down here, I don't want light sources because there will also be heat sources, right? You know, burning torch is heat. It's not a lot of heat, but it is heat. So the root cellar is going to be dark on purpose. It's funny. I just talked about sacrificing animals, but I'm definitely not going to be sacrificing the animals to wolves. I want to be sacrificing them to the Oak Brethren god. Whatever that god's name is. We're praying to him, though. That's the shrine. We're almost done with the floor down here. And it's pretty chilly. It's 37 Fahrenheit, which is like pretty cold refrigerator temperature, if you ask me. And we're nearly at the start of summer. Start of summer happens in 2 days, so not bad in terms of its potential for keeping our food cool. Okay, cool. Let's go and start to build shelves. So I'm going to start with one shelf. And once we have built one shelf, I'll set up its settings and then duplicate that shelf out to the other shelves. So with this torch here, protected by predators from Rayback, who's close by, but also from the wall torch. This wall torch is protecting any animal that goes within the range of the wall torch for a period of time. Basically, predators don't want illumination around them, so it's another way to protect animals. Now, at some point, I'm going to build like a proper area for the animals to live in, so that they aren't protected by like fueled torches, because fueled torches are going to be annoying in the long run. So this is going to be root cellar shelf. I don't know why I'm naming it, but I did. This is going to be a high priority, and we are going to not put saplings down here. But I will keep seeds. Maybe no textiles. but all food. For now. And all medicine. So copy the settings. And copy the shelf. And the idea is, if I need extra shelving, we can just expand this out towards the west. But it looks like I'm flat out of wood, so let's get trimming the trees. All right, the next project I'd like to work on is the first floor of once the root cellar's done. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but once the root cellar's done, to start constructing the first floor of our home. All right, did the copy and paste carry over? Yeah, it did. Perfect. So down here, milk decomposes in 20 or 41 days, which is almost a full year. And if there's milk up here, no, there's only tallow. But now that we are, well, you'll be able to see the difference here in a minute. So the cabbage in our stockpile here rots. It would be a better comparison to find like fresh cabbage rather than like already partially rotten cabbage. Some things will never rot as long as, you know, they're stored inside. But things like herb seeds and cabbage seeds will decompose over time, which is why keeping your seeds fresh is important. But if we... I'm actually surprised I can't force haul this. But I can boot the cabbage out of this stockpile. In fact, it might be worth booting all of the food out of the stockpile. And then hauling it. You'll see the difference. So, down here, this cabbage is keeping for, it rots in 40 or 24 days instead. It's going to keep a lot longer down there. Because it's 37 degrees down there, and in our home, it's 64 degrees. Big difference. So all food will be stored down here, going forward. Including meals and everything. Which is a little annoying because we cook here, and we store it down there. So what I'm gonna do is, once I start working on the first floor of our home, is to make an effort to make it easier to cook and provide food nearby. Also means I want to soil fill in this spot. So what I'm envisioning for the base is the closest room to the root cellar will be the kitchen, and then pretty close to the kitchen will also be the great hall. So I would like a kitchen and great hall on like ground zero, or floor zero on ground floor. And then I actually want my farm to be elevated. So I'm going to have a farm built on transported soils, so that we're not farming on elevation 0. And the reason for this is crops, if you click on a crop, it will say sunlight amount. Crops need direct sunlight. So if you have high walls looming over your crops, it will block the sun. So if I can find crops out here that get sun blocked, it's also why you're not going to find a lot of plants deep in the forest. because they don't have good sunlight properties. I'm trying to find a good example of that, though. Everything I'm spotting here has, like, fantastic sunlight. So it's difficult to prove my point. But underneath, like, a lot of tree coverage or something like that, you're not going to get a lot of sunlight. Although it is almost middle of the summer, so the sunlight amount's pretty high. Am I going to keep the water? Yeah, I'm not going to displace too much of this water. I'm going to keep most of it. So some of these red currants in the lake are like almost ready to decay. One of the reasons why I've let the red currants out here ripen without harvesting it is I knew I didn't have anywhere to place it to keep it from spoiling. But now that we actually have a root cellar, I want to stock the root cellar with red currants so that I can have rough wine or red currant based meals, you know, going forward. So I was harvesting just enough to keep us fed up to this point, but now I can start investing in you know, amassing food in our root cellar. There was just nowhere to put it until now. Same with barley and everything else. I may, for now, do away with the last row of shelves here. I don't think they're strictly necessary just yet. There we go. We also brought up all the soil. Bread decomposes in 1 year, 11 days. Yeah, it's not bad. So in terms of symmetry, this is going to take me a minute, but bear with me. So we've got 5 there. Let's go out 7 and 7. This is just for measurements. So maybe 9. Trying to figure out how large the tower should be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all in all, from the center point of our well, it's 12 in every direction. Which might work. Meaning the tower will look... I'm going to start drawing it out now. Of roughly how large I'd want it. And using these floorboards is just like design tools. So this, the outside wall fully encompasses the inner ponds, and I'll leave the inner ponds alone so that they are fish stocked if we want our fish. So something like that. And what I'm planning on doing is having some of this inside area be farmland, raised farm beds and the like, and then some of it go up to a tower. So it's not that this whole structure is going to go vertical into a tower, it's just some of it will go vertical into a tower. I'm not going to try to make it look perfect. I'm not trying to emulate any meta defense or anything like that. Just aesthetically pleasing. So let's go ahead and start hooking up our outside walls. So instead of the floors we've got there, we'll have clay brick. Now, the obvious issue initially is if we build all this clay brick, we won't be able to get in and out. So I'm going to also incorporate a security reinforced door in all of the cardinal directions. So we'll have four-way symmetry. And that's one of the reasons why I started smelting early on. Okay. I think that tree has to go. Which is a little sad. It's an oak tree, but we can plant an oak tree at, like, the top of our tower at some point. So the current priority is to build a root cellar and basic walls. Now, walls alone don't do very much for you if they're not set up with defensive structures, like Merlin's, and height advantage for your archers and all that. And we'll get there. Just one small task at a time. I think the root cellar is actually... Oh, no, there's still a few shelves left to build, but I'm going to mark it down as done anyway. And it is officially summer. All right, next research for you guys. I haven't decided that yet. So, we got defensive structures 1. There is also defensive structures 2. Now, my initial doors are just the basic reinforced doors. There are gates if you want, like, larger... So, these gates are 520 hit points, but they're a bigger target than the smaller doors, the reinforced doors, which are 300 hit points. So there's also like a case of surface area, if that's of concern. But I'll include that in the research anyway. Defensive structures too, because it also gives metal traps, which are far better than the wooden ones. And for that, I'm just going to call it defensive structures. Then let's also include cartography. This case, I'll include wooden weapons, because wooden weapons will eventually tech up to fletching for longbows, which are better than the short bows. With that said, I'm not sure we have the skill for that, though. I'm not going to do research 2 just yet, because we don't have the... I don't have need of that at the moment. But the big push is going to try to get our... you know, our basic walls up, so that we have some security. Okay. Root cellar is done. So, Zent here has a longbow. And longbows require a certain skill to use. Where is... You're at the research table? So as you can see, can Kadath use it? Require skill marksman 10. So yeah, there's no need to get another longbow, at least for now, until Kadath hits marksman 10. And at this point, it's just a... most of the immediately needed resources is clay for the walls. So we'll just keep excavating clay, so we can get the clay brick for our base. Oh no, there's mildew in the root cellar? Yep. That's perfect. On top of that, the animals can pass through like regular door So farm animals can't pass through like gates or doors, but enemies aren't going to be able to pass through these reinforced doors. So these reinforced doors are going to give us some, once we have the full walls, somewhere to defend from. Now I don't really have any perches for archers yet, but that will come in due time. All right, Rayvac, I really need you mining. But you're so busy farming, aren't you? I guess now is really the time to, like, build up our food supply, so let's get these berries put away. This will be a really good example. So berries here on this shelf, these recurrents, rot in 1 year and 13 days down there. And up here, they rot in 2 days. So they last, like, 40 times longer or something like that. In a root cellar. Which is pretty nice, if you ask me. And the next research you want is fermenting. One of the reasons why I stopped expanding our root cellar with shelves is so that I could put a fermenter down there if I wanted. I don't have the wood for it, though, surprising, so let's cut down some more trees. And right now, I think I'm going to get decorative structures and then put a pause to making chronicles so that Zent can be hauling and tidying stuff up, because I have a lot of stuff just like decomposing and rotting outside, and that's not very good. So I'm going to put a pause to research so that I can not lose resources, precious resources like flax seeds and everything. So Zent, you're going to be a hauler. For now. And we've got almost a quarter of our wall up. I am surprised I've been left alone. It's like, build up defenses for... I'm probably jinxing it. I'm probably going to get attacked in a minute. I'm also going to do a quick save and load. Because I haven't had music in a while. There's a bit of a bug in this game where, like, music will stop working or start glitching and, like, skipping. Like, you have a Discman and you're shaking it like you're a British nanny or something. So, let's hope that the save and load will bring the music back. Attack spawn at 4 people or more, or they used to? Yeah. And I'm hoping that we at least get a 4th person so we can start triggering that stuff. There's a new negotiation mechanic which allows you to avoid getting attacked at the cost of, like, goods, which I may take advantage of as well. Well, there goes the music. Oh no, here it comes. Good. If we combine our stocks, which is this button, we have 272 or 261 raw food. That's a good amount going into this summer day 2. And we've got both of the kilns roaring and getting our walls going. So the idea that I have for this is that we will have the immediate edges of our walls as defensive structures, and then inset will be soil. And then a center tower that goes up. So it's going to be a little tricky to try to design this in such a way that it is not ugly. But what I might end up doing is having... It's a good question, where to farm. I could also leave the farms outside and not have to farm indoors, behind our walls. And that way I can use all the available real estate for construction and defense. Should I try to move the farms behind the walls or not? Now, even if I do it outside the walls, I can have the farms be on elevated soil like this outside the walls, so they're not easily like trampled or destroyed. But trying to accommodate sunlit farmland inside the walls is going to be a little tricky logistically. I don't mind it. Just let you know that it might be tricky to set up. Additionally, the core of our base, or the spine of our base, and the walls need to be made of materials that are not easily destroyed. But inside, once we have the external walls, we can start building in wood, which is going to be a lot quicker. That way we can make big progress to our base without, having to quarry up an amazing amount of clay and processing it into kilns, etc., etc. So the pace of everything will pick up once we have the external walls done. All right. Overwhelmingly, you guys want outside the walls. Got it. I can agree with that. Additionally, what I could do is I could quarry up the rough soils and line our base, ringing it with farms. I think that might look nice with like pathways. Thank you for tuning in to Going Medieval Oak Brethren, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Oak Brethren.